Hey peeps, welcome back to the channel, and this is part 14 of the 3 Degree of Freedom motion simulator platform top frame build. Welcome to all those newcomers. Please guys, I'll just encourage you, please hit that subscribe button and help the doctor who's on his journey to help you. So today guys, we're going to work on our steering wheel mounting plate for our 3 Degree of Freedom motion sim. Now this is a very subjective subject because really I've had to design this plate for my rig and for my body type. So purely what I'm about to give you, you guys will need to use as a guide only, because things will need to be tweaked for you because of the length of your arms, your height, where your seat position is going to end up, etc. But I'm still going to give you all the dimensions and walk you through what I have done to set this up for my steering wheel. So kick back guys, enjoy, and just have an open mind about how you're going to perhaps set this up for your existing wheel to integrate into this rig that you're building, or if you choose to go out and buy a Fanatec CSL direct drive wheel. I'm using the 5 Newton meter version with the booster pack to take it to an 8 Newton meter wheel. Then you can definitely use this as a guide, but you will need to tweak it for your needs and for your comfort when sitting in the rig. So if you keep that in mind, then we can progress through this part of the build and keep kicking goals. Okay guys, let's get into it. Rightio, so what I'm going to do guys, I'm just going to show you basically what I've built that holds my Fanatec. The Fanatec sits on this plate and it's fastened via these brackets next to it. Rather than drilling the plate, I've actually opted to put in brackets and fasten it into its side T-slots. So the long and the short of it is for the doctor's build. So this is to summarise basically guys, okay? Overall, what you're going to need if you're going to do something similar to the doctor's using some 150mm wide, 6mm thick plate, okay? And I've cut that at 280mm in length. I'm using 2 brackets, okay? I'm using our 75mm by 5mm flat steel as my brackets. They're cut at 200mm in length. They're bent and welded on the bottom of the plate, and I'll give you the locations of where they're welded, but you'll need to put a 90-degree bend in these, or you'll need to cut and weld like we've done previously to make a 90-degree bracket, okay? So as I said, these start out at 200mm in length. To bend them, they are measured at 50mm and marked. A line's drawn with a square and they're bent at that 50mm mark if you're going to bend them. Or you'll need to cut and weld like we've done previously to make a 90-degree bracket. Okay guys, they are placed. Now this is the back of the steering wheel plate. So these are placed at 85mm inboard from the rear of the plate. So you'll measure 85mm and you'll make a mark on your plate, and this edge of the bracket is placed at that 85mm mark on both sides, and then you can get a square, okay, and you can make sure that they're aligned. Now you can, I don't know if you can see this line here that I've ground into the plate here. This is where the back of the steering wheel sits. So the base sits on here and the back of the base sits along this line. That line is from the back 45mm inboard from the rear. So this is the rear of the plate. This is the front of the plate. So the steering wheel is at this end. This is the back end of the plate. Now the hole locations for the T-slots on the Fanatec, you find those yourself, okay? So when you put your Fanatec in the plate, you line those up by eye. Well, that's what the doctor did. He basically looked down the side of the T-slots, and then I marked on the side of my brackets here where the T-slots lined up. I marked on here. I just measured the center of my 75, which is 37.5, and I drilled my holes, okay, and then they lined up with the T-slots. So that, in summary, guys, is the plate that is built to house the Fanatec. To summarise what's ended up happening on the steering wheel frame that's going to carry our steering wheel. In the very centre of our frame, the doctor has placed a 150mm length of 25 by 25 by 2mm box. That has been welded on our steering wheel brace frame here, okay? Directly behind that and welded to the box and to the 50 by 25 box behind that is our 75 by 5mm plate, cut at 110mm in length and placed in the centre of the 25 by 25 box. It's welded to the box, to this box, and it's welded to our 50 by 25 box at the back here along the bottom. Our plate that we've just shown sits on top of that our steering wheel sits on. It angles back to the back of our 50 by 25 and it will weld on the back here. Okay, now that is the heights and the angle that the doctor required for his comfort with that steering wheel setup. You will need to tweak yours. So your measurements may be not exactly the same as the doctor's, but that gives you a guide. And that gives you one method anyway, guys, of going through the process of working out how you need to set yours up. So you can use all of those dimensions as a guide, but you will need to fine tune that for your needs. So guys, I cannot predict or I cannot know, because I don't possess those magical powers to know what people have. So I have to build this on the steering wheel that I am going to install. And I've already sat in my rig and worked out distances, etc., for the doctor to place his steering wheel on the steering wheel frame for his comfort levels. Now, keeping in mind that our steering wheel platform is adjustable. So this could obviously work for whoever may be thinking about buying a Fanatec CLD DD 5 Newton metre wheelbase. So all I'm going to do then, guys, I'm going to take you through what I'm doing with mine. Now, this will translate to most steering wheels. It'll definitely translate to any of the Logitech wheels, because this is the same plate that I'm using, that I was using with my G27. So I know a G27 will fit on this. You'll just need to work out the bolt hole locations for your Logitech. Now, we have spoken about that before as well, so let's not dwell on the past. What the doctor's got here is he's set up how he's going to use his base bracing per se, okay? Because I'll be ultimately using a 150mm wide by 6mm thick plate, okay? But I don't want to just put that plate straight on the frame because it'll have a bit of flex in it. So what I'm going to use is, if you will cast your minds back to the pedal board design a couple of videos ago, the doctor used some 50 by 25 by 2mm box. Well, I've got enough of that left to become the basis and the main bracing point for the plate that will sit on top of this, okay? So what the doctor's done, he's cut a length of this, and you will need to cut this 50 by 25. You'll need to cut it at 275mm in length. You're going to place it in the center. Sorry guys, let me get this adjusted. You'll need to place it in the center of your steering wheel assembly frame, okay? Now this is placed facing away from you. This is the top of our frame, okay? This is the top that the wheel will sit on. Ultimately, this is our plate that our wheel's going to sit in. So this is sitting on the inside edge going over our pedal board. So you'll find the center of that, okay? So measure it and then find the center, mark it, and you'll place your 50 by 25 here in the center of that. So you'll have to mark 25mm for the center of your 50, okay, and line that up with the center mark of your steering wheel brace bracket here, okay? Then get it set up and squared. I'm using a couple of my small angle finder 90-degree brackets here. I've got it set up on those locations, squared. And now I'm going to tack it in 4 corners, and then I'm going to weld this onto the frame, ready to take our plate. Okay, and this is basically how I have got the angle and the offset for what's comfortable for me. Okay, so I'm going to be welding some 25 by 25 basically on top of the frame that we already have built. Okay, and my plate that goes on top of that will angle back on that piece of 50 by 25 that we've welded on just then. So I'm going to be welding an additional piece of 25 by 25 on top of the top frame. Okay, so it raises the steering wheel. So I'll be welding some 25 by 25 on the top of my frame in the center. So then my 150 by 6mm plate will angle back. So this will sit flat on the plate, but up on an angle. So that's how I'm going to do it. That's what's comfortable for me. You guys will need to work this out for yourself. You'll have to get your wheel and everything in the rig. You'll have to mock something up like what I've done here. I've just used a bit of that hardwood, okay, and I've clamped it onto the frame so I can sit the wheelbase on this and then sit in the sim, get the wheel at the right distance from my body, etc., where I need it to be. You can see it's set back quite a lot from the front of our main steering wheel frame here, because these are quite a long coupling on these Fanatec's compared to like a G27 where they're straight into the actual module. This has got quite a throw on it, so I've got to set that wheelbase back quite a lot. And then you need to test and make sure the wheel's got full rotation without interfering on anything. But that's what you've got to do, guys, okay? And really, at the end of the day, you've got to work those things out for whatever it is that you've got, for whatever it is that you're using. So you'll have to spend a bit of time just doing that, and then once you've sorted that out, you can just follow those same principles. You're going to need some plate and you're going to need some bracing. Okay, peeps, so I know we're all on the same page and you know what the doctor's talking about. This is what it's going to look like when you've got that 50 by 25 welded forward on the front face of the main steering wheel bracing. Okay, I've added another 25 by 25 piece of box on top to give me my angle back, so then my steering wheel angles up at me enough. Now, I've only tacked that each end at the moment because I want to get back in the rig with the plate on. So I need to cut my plate now, which is 150 wide. So that 25 by 25 box there is 150 in width, and it's lined up exactly with the center of our 50 by 25 that goes forward. Now I'm going to cut my plate to go on top of this. I'm going to sit it on. Then I'm going to put my wheel back on that and just do some more checks to make sure everything's okay before I do some better welds on that 25 by 25 to the steering wheel frame. So I'll just take you through the little steps of what you may need to do if you follow the same path that the doctor is walking in this one. So yeah, anyway, I'll keep you in the loop. Okay, this is my 150 by 6mm thick sheet, guys. Okay, yes, the doctor has a few toys. It's nice to have some toys. There's no doubts about that. That's where we need to be on that one. Very exciting stuff, isn't it? You like that little dance? That's called the doctor dance. Okay, we have our plate. So I'll give you guys a bit of a look at what I've ended up settling on. So there was a bit of backwards and forwardsing onto the rig to get the wheel in the angle that I wanted. Okay, now to get the brake on the wheel and that angle that I need, I've ended up welding in a piece of our 5mm by 75 wide flat plate. Okay, so the box works really well with this because the 25 box that goes on first acts as a support for that flat in behind, so it gives this lots of bracing. Okay, I've cleaned up my 150 by 6mm plate here, all right, and that's going to sit on there like so. It'll be welded on and centered like that. So that's what we're looking at, guys. That's how much brake that the doctor is looking at for that setup, okay, with this wheel. For me, for my wranger arms, etc., height of seat, all of that sort of stuff. So that's why this is so hard to be a one shoe fits all, because it's just not. But these are the steps you have to go through to determine how you need to set up your plating here, okay, and your bracing and your supports for ultimately what will become your plate that the steering wheel lives on. Yeah, it's more exciting drill press action. Everybody loves a bit of drill press action. Okay, so these are the brackets the doctor is making up that will go up beside the Fanatec, and these holes I've just screwed, they will go through to the T-slots that will slot into ye old Fanatec. T-slot slots. The T-slot slots. The T-slot slots. The T-slot slots. The doctor's keeping you right here in the action, peep. So you can see the doctor's marked his plate here. He's cleaned it. Now, obviously, the underside of this plate is not going to be seen by any human beings because it's the underside. The doctor's still going to paint it. Now, you can see I've got some marks in here, guys. That is where these will live. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. They're going to live in here like that. Oh, I've really got to get off that sauerkraut. Yes, you can see the Fanatec is going to sit inside here, guys, and these holes have been aligned where the T-slots are in the Fanatec. Now, I'm a bit disappointed in Fanatec. I've been singing their praises all day, but they've gone down a few notches in my book. You know what? Why would a company provide T-slots and not provide the screws? Can somebody explain that to me? I mean, come on, Fanatec. 4 frickin' screws. 4 frickin' screws. Now I've got to find damn M6 bolts that are the right length. Here we go again. Well, I'm just going to forge ahead here, guys. I need to get these brackets welded in place. And that is what I'm going to do right now. And then I will attach this to the frame on the rig. Then the Fanatec can go on. Okay. These lined up right on song. Double check. Oh yes. I really just want to tack them this way. I want to weld them in earnest this way. seriously thick metals here. You know what, guys, that's it. I'll just put a couple of little ones here. That's it. That's it, guys. The Fanatec plate is el finod. Ah, it's beautiful. Now, see all these BBs here, guys? You would have been getting those while you're welding, right? You need to get those off. Now, I think I talked about this once before. You can use, that's right, canola cooking oil to spray on your surfaces before you weld. I mean, you can buy this weld splatter, right? It's cost you a lot of money. This does the same thing. And look, this is even black and gold. Some of the highest quality stuff you can get in Australia. So what I was saying is you can use that, you can spray it on your surface, right? And it stops any of the beads and the BBs from sticking. The problem is when you want to paint a surface, then you end up with oil impregnated into your surface, which is not so good for painting. So because the doctor is going to paint all of this stuff, I'm not using that as an anti-weld splatter. I just have to do old school mechanical removal. Wire brush won't get those off. I'll have to go over this with my flap disc, sander flap disc, or the grinding disc later on, which is what I've been doing with all my pieces. And I'm hoping that you guys have been doing the same and haven't just been leaving them on there. Because you really shouldn't be. Very happy to say, peeps, that apart from a little bit more wire brushing in here, which I'll do in a second, that's the plate. So I'm going to have a crack at setting the Fanatec up on this now with those T-slot bolts and the nuts that I have had to find to provide for the CSL DD wheelbase. Hey peeps, welcome to the rig. The doctor is in the rig. He's got his simming socks on. I've just got this clamped in place here, as you can see, guys, at the moment. Just doing some final checks on this. And I'm very happy with this, the way that it is at the moment. I just wanted to make sure I had clearance from these shifters. When it's right around, I'm not hitting any of the plate. And actually what I've determined is that I will actually take some angle out of that plate, or cut some angle across here. I'm going to angle this both sides so it's a little bit better clearance on the plate. This universal hub I bought, look, it's a little bit, as you can see, it's a little bit flimsy. Because what happens is with these universal hubs, they come squashed and then you adjust them. You slide each side out to the size of the wheel that you have. And because they're all plastic, the wider they come out, the more play they have in them. But, you know, I suppose you get what you pay for. I wanted a larger wheel. But the buttons and all that sort of stuff on these universal hubs, momentary switches here, both sides. There's an 8-way hat here with push. These buttons feel really good. They've got really good springs in them. Got your little digital dash on this, which is nice. Be able to set these buttons up here. This one and this one here, I'll set them up for brake bias. So, look, yeah, it is what it is. It's not super solid, but it's got to get the job done for an old bloke like me who doesn't take this sim racing business too serious. I'm in this for some fun, guys. If I was wanting to be a really serious sim racer, I wouldn't have a motion rig. It's too hard to get really fast laps when you're in a motion rig. I want realism and I want movement. That's why I've gone for the direct drive wheel as well to complement all of that and the better pedals. Why have a kick-ass motion sim rig and not have the other stuff to make the immersion that much better again? So that's all working out really well, guys. I'll take this off now, and I've got to find one more bolt for this side down the bottom. I'll do that. I'll probably have to just cut one of the long ones that I was whinging about earlier. The doctor has calmed down, but he is very disappointed in Fanatec. I hope you're watching this, Fanatec. I know you're not, but I wish you were, and you can hear the doctor whinging about your tight ass mentality with not providing the damn bolts for your T-nuts. Next video, I'll get that button box on the rig. We'll get the pedals actually in place and correctly mounted. And then we're going to run a test with the rig in game. I'll get my monitor really close in here to get a proper field of view. It'll be just sitting in behind the direct drive there. I've got a 32-inch curved screen monitor that I've had for a long time that I game with. I was using my big television over there, but it's horrible. It's only a 60 hertz refresh rate. Look, it does the job for sort of showing stuff, but it's pretty nasty. So I'll get my nice monitor in straight behind the wheel here. We'll get a good field of view happening. I bought another camera so then I can take a couple of shots of different angles of the rig working. And I'll also work out how to capture game to video as well. Look, I'm an old bloke and I don't know about this stuff, but I'm going to learn how to do that. So you'll see the game and a couple of different angles of the rig working when we do that test. Take care, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take it easy out there.